because their behavior and examples are not stuck up to the definition of a role model. My first claim is that celebrity-obsessed culture is causing us to become more narcissistic. A narcissist is someone who has a lot of self-love for themselves. A celebrity role model are making people become over self-loving. Physician Dr. Pinsky agrees with this and has actually wrote a book called The Mirror Effect, and it discusses this very problem. And yes, a strong ego is good, but that can get out of control and cause people to lose empathy and start acting out. Even becoming an extreme narcissistic can cause parents to lose their children. So it's alright to feel good about yourself, but celebrity role models make strong self-esteem and become over self-obsessed. And not only does celebrity and professional athletes cause people to become more self-obsessed with themselves, but also causes them to become self-obsessed with stardom. People these days are willing to achieve what famous people have, and they're willing to do whatever, even if it causes their children to do the same things. And then a test was done on the Tyra Banks show to show how many parents were willing to fail to fall for casting scams, and what measures they were willing to take to make their children be more like celebrities, especially Miley Cyrus. A mother was willing to go as far for her young child to get breast implants just so she would get hired and become more successful. And there were other 4 mothers that were willing to do the same thing. And the mother that was agreeing for her child to get breast implants, her child was 4 years old, and Tyra Banks asked her if she was willing to have her child do partial nudity, and her response was, Brooke Shields did it to become a star, so why can't mine? And partial nudity is like having extensions cover your boobs, but you're still naked. And then there were other parents, 4 other ones that were fall for this scam, and only one of them decided to say that their child looked perfectly fine. And this behavior is unacceptable because why would you want to change your child, especially at such a young age? And then even celebrities admit that they're not role models. And actually, on June 22nd, a national poll of teenagers conducted by Junior Achievement and Harris Interactive lists Los Angeles Lakers basketball player Kobe Bryant as their celebrity role model. And he was put before Oprah Winfrey and the president. And then 9 days after this poll, Kobe Bryant was accused of raping a child. And that shows that, like, they might seem successful at the point, but they are willing to change at any moment. And even celebrities are willing to admit that they're not good role models. NBA performer Charles Barkley said, and I quote, "I throw a ball through hoop. I'm not supposed to be your child's role model." And another shocking confession by NFL player Alex Karras said, "I'm getting real tired of people who think that football players are guys who sit around early in the morning and eat Wheaties. They're like anyone else. They have their problems. A lot of them smoke cigarettes, drink beer. I don't like anyone holding anybody on a pedestal. Certainly not football players. Certainly there are those in the National Football League who are on drugs and who smoke marijuana and do a lot of other things. What's the big shock about that? I think it's time that we realize that there are other people to look up to. The things I would say to kids is the best thing to do is look up to your father." So even celebrities are willing to admit that they're not good role models to kids, so why is it so hard for us to see? Now, I'm not saying celebrities are bad people, because they're just like everyone else, like Alex Cross said. They have their own problems, and they obviously are more in the limelight, so their problems are more for the media to see. And so that's why we should look up to them, because their behavior can change just like anyone else. And just because they show emotion on TV and can shoot a ball through a hoop, that does not mean they're role models.